So with the rise of Skywalker coming out this week, I wanted to do a Star Wars video, and since there's no way I'm going to see Episode 9, I decided to do this instead. Return of the Jedi is generally regarded as the weakest of the original trilogy. While some think it's right up there with the first two, others feel that, though it serves as a fairly satisfying conclusion to the OT, it's a major step down. Personally, though I don't think it's quite as good as A New Hope or Empire, I really love ROTJ, and, over the years, have come to appreciate it more and more. I think that Jedi elevates the entire trilogy, making what was essentially a really well-done throwback to old serials into a classic piece of myth-making. Consequently, I thought I'd push back against some of the common criticisms of the film. The most common complaints against Episode 6 tend to focus on the Ewoks. So I'm going to tackle each criticism one at a time in reverse order of importance. If this is confusing, it should become clear as we go along. Okay, number 1, the Ewoks were created just to sell toys. So I can sympathize with this point of view. Excessive marketing and corporate decisions that interfere with the movie's story in favor of a better profit really irk me, and I'm not a fan of consumerism in general. I suppose it may very well be that Lucas wanted the Ewoks in the film chiefly for merchandising opportunities, but it doesn't really matter. I firmly believe that, in film criticism, each element should be judged on whether or not it works in the context of the film itself. The motive of the filmmakers for including the Ewoks doesn't really matter as long as it serves the narrative. So do the Ewoks serve the story? Yes, of course. They are the one element that the Empire overlooks, and they end up being the key to defeating them. There is a running theme throughout the OT of small, seemingly weak figures possessing great strength, and the Ewoks are a natural extension of this.
Not bad for a little furball. There's only one left.
Number 2, they look fake. No, they don't. They are an unprecedented achievement in makeup effects. The fact that they look cute was an intentional decision to make them appear unthreatening.
Over-furred and over-foamed, the Ewoks found it difficult to move. Freeborn had to redesign the Ewoks' feet, making them softer, more flexible.
Number 3, Luke Skywalker uses his special abilities to unethically coerce the Ewoks into fighting for the rebellion. This is actually a decent criticism, but it's based on a misunderstanding. Luke does initially trick the Ewoks into thinking that 3PO is a god so they won't kill him and Han. Obviously, it would be highly unethical for Luke, the hero of the saga, to allow the Ewoks to continue under this illusion, especially when they offer to fight with the rebels. Though there isn't a scene explicitly showing this, it seems pretty obvious that Luke or 3PO or whoever was able to explain that he is just a droid. At no point after this scene do the Ewoks treat C-3PO with any special reverence, and they only agree to help after hearing about Han, Luke, and Leia's adventures. In general, the film goes out of its way to slowly build up a trusting relationship between the Ewoks and the human characters.
Wonderful. We are now a part of the tribe.
That's what I always wanted.
Number 4. The Ewoks make the Imperials look completely incompetent by defeating them with rocks and sticks. This is the criticism I hear most frequently, and it's not without merit. Nonetheless, it's largely based on a misunderstanding of the film's climax. First of all, it is essential to understand something I alluded to earlier. The Emperor either doesn't feel threatened by the Ewoks or is unaware of their existence. It is not made clear in the film.
It is quite safe from your pitiful little band. An entire legion of my best troops awaits them.
This gives them the element of surprise, and they are able to distract the stormtroopers long enough for Han and Leia to escape. Secondly, though there are numerous shots of stormtroopers falling before Ewoks slingshots, arrows, and clubs, it's not clear if any of these men are lethally injured. What's more, after their initial surprise, the Ewoks begin to lose the battle. It's only when Chewbacca helps them to steal an AT-ST that they are able to turn the tide. Some have argued that the movie would be better if they had used Wookiees instead of Ewoks, but this misses the whole point of the battle. There is no way the Imperials would have overlooked the obvious dangers of putting the Death Star's shield on a Wookiee planet like Kashyyyk. It is clear in the earlier films that Wookiees are a fairly well-known race, and the Empire would certainly be aware of the threat they could pose. This idea makes even less sense in the context of later films, where we find out that the Empire has dealt with Wookiees before.
All these Wookiees are dead. Move to the east. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm done. Like and subscribe, I guess.